we head over and greet our judges. Hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay as we merge into Judge Dredd and the worlds of 2000 AD. We are waiting to hear from some of our comrades in action, but while we wait to hear from them, let's go and say hi to the wonderful Cleric of Cord. How are you doing today, friend?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I just got to play I never can say it correctly. The Nobulin in Star Trek. I've been a fan of Star Trek literally since I was a little girl in elementary school, running around with the boys on the recess and at the playground playing Star Trek, and to actually get to play Star Trek, it's just amazing. It was so much fun. But hi, I'm Kat. I'm at Cleric of Cord, and now it's time for some Judge Dredd. Kind of been looking forward to this, getting back to this. Lexi Talon, the judge, is set up a soup kitchen and is really looking forward to trying to get this block free, to make Freedom Falls really free.
Freedom in Freedom Falls. And the creator of Freedom Falls, Virginia.
Hi, I am fresh out of the Star Trek game. I remembered to take off my little badge. I'm not quite as good at quick change as the both of you are. But I'm excited for this. It's good. I'm in all of the games. I don't know, this happens. Once I've run a game, I'm just like, keep going. I can keep doing this. So much energy.
So much energy.
I'm looking forward to that. I've had so much planned for your characters because I know we had the week off, was it last week? And I've just been plotting and scheming.
Plotting and scheming, indeed. Actually, while we wait to see if Birdie is going to appear today, we're not sure where Birdie is. I have a couple of questions for you. Like, how do you prep when you know you've got two streams and they're two different games?
Oh God, it kind of depends, because I've done this before where I've done two games in a row. And it depends on how well I already know the adventure and whether or not it's a homebrew. So for Star Trek, I proofread Strange New Worlds. So I've read all of those adventures about 2 or 3 times. And I've run that adventure before for a home group when Sam asked me to take a couple and test them. So that wasn't too bad. That one was just writing myself notes out to make sure I could keep pace, because obviously we're on a kind of a time limit. And that's just going through it and writing out basically, in this scene, this is what happens, and this is what I need to get them to do. This is the information I need to get them to discover, whether that's they do it or I tell them or whatever. And I put that out in just an A4 Google Docs. And then it's little bits and pieces like having your captain's log written out and sent to you. So for me, it's as long as I know my way around the adventure and I know what they should be getting at each point, that's kind of fine. And then just having everything already open. So I had a load of my Dredd stuff up in the background in separate windows, so I can just close all the Trek ones and then Dredd appears. And then for Dredd, I don't have to do too much prep for this because it's so open-ended in terms of what you guys want to do. I try not to prep too much, and that was on your advice, Charlie. So I normally prep a day or two before. I go back and watch the last episode so I can make sure I've got the names of NPCs down, or if there's specific things that happened that I need to know completely in depth. And I write those down. I've got a little Google Docs that's got some names of NPCs because I'm the worst remembering what NPCs are called or naming them while live on stream. And I've also got some stuff in a notebook. I have a, where is it? Very messy flowchart that kind of tells me how things are connected up. But yeah, I don't know. I do a lot of improv stuff anyway, so I'm quite comfortable with having more of a skeleton for stuff. Because obviously I run lots of games, lots of demo games and things, and people throw all sorts of like curveballs at you. So it's a mixture between skeletons and then like just feeling comfortable improving stuff on the spot to work.
Yeah, well, a bit of a curveball tonight, as you may just have myself and Cleric with you, but I have no doubt the streets of Freedom Falls will be safer when we leave them. Of course, our law meter showing at the side our current state of disorder. We are on 3 pips after chat voted that we lost law during our poll last session. We will be having more polls coming up today, but before we get to that, a few words from past Charlie about our sponsors. Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, a virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and rolls you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com. And then we shall see what happens. Of course, Talon getting very hungry. I'm under attack by a fly. But yes, please do go and check out our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice, Wayland Games, and of course Tabletop Loot, who enable us to give you dice every session when we hit our goals. Of course, do want to shout out the wonderful Judge Dredd and Wells 2000 AD, which is the game we will be playing momentarily. This is the improv session.
This is the improv session. So this is going to be, just to say, hopefully well wishes to Birdie and that everything's okay and maybe it's just some technical trouble. We love you. But for the most part, we're going to see what trouble I can get you two in going a bit off book. And Charlie, if it's okay with you, I would like to poll chat again and see what they want to do with your lore meter. See if they're going to be kind to you tonight and help you increase the lore, or if they're going to drop it back.
All right, give me a moment and I will get that set up, of course. There we go. It's just the 3 of us. I think we're alone now. Let's make this roll a little bit bigger. Gonna fix everything live on stream because why not? This is how we do in the worlds of 2000 AD. There we go, nice and big. We're ready. Judges on the block. And Virginia, while I set up that poll, why don't you set the scene for me?
Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm still getting over the sickness. I'm not sniffling anymore, but... So, the last time we left you, Judge Waits, you had just had a strange encounter with a woman in a stairwell, and some plans, perhaps, about some blood that you are so desperately needing. Judge Talon, you were part of the crew that were back at the refuge after watching Judge Reinhold bolt out of the door with Tetley, not stopping for anything, so fast you couldn't even catch up with him. It's been a couple of days. Judge Waits, you haven't had any blood in this time. You weren't quite able to intercept the woman with her daughter when they went to donate. Not quite being able to bring yourself to it. Instead, showing up with some gifts of food for them. And leaving. Distressed. Hungry for blood and exhausted from the lack of it. Judge Grease has made his way off, having had a supply of Judge Tech come in that he's now disseminating throughout the various factions of Freedom Falls, as was planned. Judge Gilroy is taking some time after everything that has happened to report in back about what's going on the initiative, as the shipment of Judge Tech was questioned by some people above you, and so is back at HQ, straightening everything out, ensuring that you have the supplies that you need, especially since Judge Talon wanted to supply more fresh food to the markets downstairs. Setting up stuff like that requires, well, the top bosses to get involved. So Judge Talon and Judge Waits, it is just the two of you and the refuge. Judge Reinhold has still not returned, and this has been called in. So far, all of your searches for him, all of the information that you have, a few contacts that you have on the inside, have been able to turn up nothing. But none of the gangs are advertising a dead judge. None of his uniform has found its way into the arcade for sale. So hope is high. Perhaps he is just following a lead. Tetley hasn't returned either, and it seems that that dog can survive anything. It's just the two of you. It's lonely, it's worrying. What are you doing? How are you feeling right now?
Talon is concerned about Reinhold's disappearance and Tetley's. Although, given that Tetley's skill at survival believes that wherever Reinhold is, Tetley is probably close by, keeping an eye on him, and if there was trouble, Tetley would come back. And that's kind of where Talon is putting her faith right now. And she is busy. She is busy getting the markets reopened, getting the stalls reopened, getting the food distributed, and keeping an eye on Judge Waits, noticing the changes, and is concerned. I mean, there are always rumors going around, and especially when you work down in R&D, you hear whispers and rumors. And having seen now Judge Waits firsthand, Talon is kind of putting some of those rumors, understanding now where the stories were coming from, maybe discounting the more outlandish ones, but is unsure of how well Waits is going to continue to hold up. This seems to have been, in her opinion, this seems to have been more stressful on Judge Waits than Judge Waits would have led anyone to believe. And so there's concern there as well. And having not heard from Greece either, Talon's focusing on the work to keep going. This has to be done. We have to do these things. The elevator has to be taken care of. The food has to be done. We have to get these people fed and on our side. And she's also been working on her network within Freedom Falls with the people who own the stalls, quietly and carefully cultivating those relationships, especially with Lena and some of the others.
Make me, Talon, make me a reputation check. As you spent the last couple of days doing this and kind of drilling down into this to distract yourself from not having heard from Greece and Gilroy being away and Reinhold being missing, and there being nothing you can do in fear of blowing somebody's cover.
Okay, you're gonna have to remind me what I need to roll. I'm sorry.
That's okay, we have just switched over, so let me grab this. So it's going to be your reputation dice pool, and if you've got any skills that you think might apply here, you can go ahead and add the dice from that too. And you roll all those d6s. And
Would
we see if
law
you
help me
succeed.
with this?
Do you know what? Yeah, I'll say yes. Because you're kind of using because you've presented as a judge to some of these people. So, and you've been using the law here to help as your your baseline for it. So yeah.
Okay. All right, so that'll be 3d6.
That's
So
9 in total. Okay, it doesn't spread quite as quickly as you'd hoped, but it's only been a couple of days. It's going to take time for these people to trust you. But people are starting to learn your name. They're starting to know who you are. There's a couple of people when you go down to the markets, food vendors that approach you that you haven't spoken to yet, asking if it's true that you're going to try and get more ingredients, asking how you're going to deal with the fact that some of the people that make the food up on ISO 59 will starve if they don't buy from them. But word is starting to get out slowly. Judge Waits. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, the question of the people up in ISO 59 that would starve if the food doesn't get to them, Judge Talon would answer, they're more than welcome to send their representatives down to negotiate for supplies. We would be happy to establish relationships with them.
You get the feeling that some of it is less to do with food going up to them than it is they are growing some food there, and it's the workers who get paid to do that. It's not so much the gang will suffer, but the people that they pay to do this for them will. That's their concern.
Be happy to buy from them if they want to negotiate terms.
And this is the information you disseminate, and it spreads, and people start to talk. Judge Waits, where are you right now? As Talon is, I imagine, cooking away in the kitchen for the next soup kitchen. You haven't had any blood in 3 days.
Waits for the first day had been working on the board, working on figuring out where the only sane judge in this place had gone, where her only friend, as she thought of him, had gone. And then she spent the second day searching. And then yesterday, the cravings had gotten really bad and she'd shut herself away. She had to revise the law. She had to think. She was going to contact command. Do not disturb me. That had been the instructions she'd given to Talon. And now today she is still in that room, shut away. But she sits in a corner, staring down at her hands, all of the veins thick and black and raised all over her body. And she shakes, and she can hear, whether it's real or not, every heartbeat nearby. She listens as they come in to eat. She listens as they leave. She listens to Tetley panting and asking for treats. It's just over and over and relentless.
And that is when you realize that some of this is in your head. Because you think, no, that can't be right. I can't hear Tetley. Tetley went with Reinhold. Tetley didn't come back. And the lack of blood. You can't tell the real heartbeats from the ones you're imagining anymore. As you've been locked away in this room. And Talon Waits hasn't come out. Since she shut herself away. She hasn't come out. She hasn't eaten. You don't even really know if she slept because she's had her back to you every time you've gone in to take your night's rest. As you're standing over the cooker, cooking up the next batch for the soup kitchen that's opening in a few hours. What do you do as Waite still hasn't appeared and morning passed several hours ago?
Turn the pot down to simmer, cover it up, walk back to the room and knock on the door. Judge Waits. Are you well?
I'm fine. Working. What is it? She is snapping and her voice is nearly a snarl.
With all due respect, Judge, you're not working. You look like hell.
What do you
I
know
need to
about
bring the medic in?
work? All you do is cook and talk. We're all in here like rats.
Charlie, what is Waits' coordination like after not having blood for 3 days? Is she shaky and uncoordinated?
I definitely think she's shaking, but she's kind of that overwired, over-caffeinated shaking where she does things in quick bursts, as opposed to being so shaky she can't do anything. She just launches and does things, and then feels weak afterwards.
Judge Talon, you can see whether the door is shut here, and Judge Waits has insisted on it being kept shut. The only time it's opened is when you've come in and out to go to bed, get up in the morning, and you notice something wedged in the door, a crumpled piece of paper.
Going to reach and take the paper and then make sure that the door latch is shut, staying on the other side of it, smooth it out, open it up and read it.
You smooth it out and open it up. It looks like it was once crumpled in a pocket. And you look at the top and there is a list of charges on here. Vandalism, destruction of public property, interfering with a crime scene. And you can see at the top that this is a ticket written by Judge Waits. And when you look at who it's been written to, it's written in her own handwriting to herself. You imagine this must have fallen out of a pocket where she dashed her uniform off in favour of more comfortable clothing before she shut herself away.
Judge Talon before was willing to cut Judge Waits some slack, I think, was understanding that judges, while we all have a singular goal in that we are the law, we approach that goal in different ways. And Judge Talon's always tried to respect that judges have different ways of doing things that accomplish the same goal. But Judge Waits is the one she's now concerned that Judge Waits is actually unfit for duty. And is going to open the door and, as a judge, as the law, use that judge voice, that judge presence that they're taught. Judge Waits, it appears you have violated the criminal code to the extent with which you have ticketed yourself. Shall I call to have you taken down to the ISO cubes?
Judge Talon, I would not do that if I were you.
Then you need to square yourself away, Judge, because you are becoming a liability.
Do not speak to me of liabilities when you endorse Judge Grease's plan to arm terrorists. I am the law! And she, surges up and past Talon for the door, not wanting to be trapped in this room.
Do you try to stop her, Talon?
Judge Talon will step aside, but as Judge Waits goes by, Then square yourself away, Judge, and fix whatever it is that is keeping you from doing your duty.
Judge Waits, I'd like you to make me, as you're bolting for the door, I'd like you to make me an agility test.
Okay.
But since it has been 3 days without blood, I'm going to give you a 2 dice penalty. So roll for your test, and then roll 2 dice and take that off of whatever your result is.
Okay, does this count as a running test?
Yes.
I have a specific skill in running. Okay, so this is going to be 4 dice for me. It's d6s, right? Yeah.
Yep. So roll those.
Make sure I roll the right number. 12 minus... drop
roll
2 dice?
D6. Drop 2 dice, yeah.
Alright, so drop the lowest or just drop?
Let me double check, let's see.
Or do you want me to just roll 2 and we'll deduct that from the total?
Yeah, roll 2, deduct that from the total. Sorry, I think I got that wrong. I think you just roll 2 less when you do it.
Oh, okay. That's my d6. That's 1.
So 9.
So that'd be 9.
9, okay. You try to get up and bolt past the door, and you do get to the door. You pull it open, but by the time you've done that, you're against the door frame, weak, fatigued. That agile ability that you normally have, being quick on your feet, it's drained from you. Even more so than it was yesterday before you shut yourself away, where you've spent nothing but pacing this room and sitting down and lying on your bed. And Cleric, you see, as Just Waits gets to the door, throws it back, and then is just fatigued, clutching at the door frame.
Judge Talon is going to reach for Judge Waits, kind of slip that shoulder underneath the arm, take the weight, arm around the waist, walk them back to the bed, sit them down. Stay here. I'll go get the medic. If you're not here when I get
Sorry,
back,
carry on.
and if you're not here when I get back, then I'll just report you as missing, I guess. One more
Talon,
judge gone.
You can see as you've now hooked your hand under Judge Waits, and do you fight this, Waits, or do you just let her?
I think she wouldn't be fighting this. She's in that fatigue. She's just resisting the urge to do things now.
And you can't even, you think of it for a second and you just, everything aches, everything feels difficult. And Talon, you notice as you lay Waits down onto this bed, the veins where her top has rolled up slightly as you've been maneuvering her, thick black veins that are raised that you can see on any exposed skin, and the neck as well. You've never seen this before.
Given background in tech and time in R&D, would Talon have heard or read about what this condition might be?
No, not this. Cybernetics you've seen and heard of, but this is medicine. This is a biological problem, and you don't have that kind of training here. If only Judge Gilroy was around, you think, maybe he might know what this was. And Waits, you can see Talon staring.
You have no idea what I am.
You're
It's
a
better
judge.
that way.
You're a judge. That's all I need to know, unless there's more that
I am a
I need
judge.
to know.
There is nothing you need to know, Talon.
I respect your desire not to confide in me. I'll be back with the medic. And Judge Talon will just abruptly stand up and quickly walk out at just that very businesslike stride out of the room. The door closes maybe a little bit more firmly than usual. It's not a gentle kind of closing, and it's not a slam, but it's a very solid click. Turn off the stuff that's on the stove, out the front door, make sure that it's locked, and straight up to the next floor to the medic, to Jaina.
As you stride out, Waits, you can hear Talon's heartbeat. And Talon, you make a straight stride for the door when it's swung open. And welcome, Susie! It's so happy to have you. Who do we see striding into the refuge? You're muted, Susie.
She will be back. She is a Terminator judge. She will return to us.
But wait, you could feel Talon's heartbeat. Not just hear it in your mind, but it's like you could feel the pulse of your veins trying to match it and urge you on. Hi, you're very quiet.
Can you hear me?
There
Yes.
we
There we go.
Okay,
go. Who do we see striding into the refuge?
so you see in the door, illuminated behind, she casts a mighty shadow. You see a tall, broad woman with long brown hair flowing down her back, and she's wearing the eagle and the pauldron of the judge. As she steps forward, judges.
It's just the
See
one that
Judge
you see here. You are met by this sight as the door closes.
Are you a replacement or are you backup?
Maybe both, looking at the state of you. I thought there were more of you.
Well, we have one undercover with the gangs, and we have another who has gone missing several days ago, and one who is taken off back downtown to explain us to the supervisors. And there's one in the bedroom. I wouldn't recommend going back in there. She's a little cranky. I need to go get the medic. She's not well. Judge Talon, by the way. There's
And she offers
dinner. There's
she offers
dinner
a
on
hand.
the stove.
Judy. Sorry, Judy.
Pleasure to meet you. Dinner's on the stove. Don't eat from the pot on the back right burner. And we'll walk right out and go upstairs to get the medic. Come back.
Yeah. And Judy, as you are left by Judge Talon standing in this kind of reception area with the kitchen just further back, you can smell good home cooking. Really good home cooking, and then something over the top of it that's slightly acrid. You're not really sure what that is, but perhaps that's the pot you were told just not to touch. And you've been told there is another judge here. Judge Waits. Waits. You sure you recognize the name somewhere? One of those judges that you've heard of, probably the diligent type, the good type, has done a lot of stuff around HQ.
And welcome into our Raiders, Leah 2. Welcome in. We're playing Judge Dredd, Worlds of 2000 AD. We have a cranky mutant judge. We have judges missing, and we have a star judge on deck as Judge Judy joins us today.
So Judy will go over to the pot of the delicious food, and she'll open up the lid. She'll pull up the ladle. She'll take a little sip or whatever it is, and put the ladle straight back in because she's a trash person. Put the lid on. And then she saunters into the back to go see this Waits that she's heard of, she thinks.
So you saunter into the back, and there is an armory what would have been an armory for the city defense, which is now, it looks like it's been used to store various supplies. There is what looks to be essentially like a cargo crate of what would contain judge tech. Does not currently contain judge tech, and would contain far more than what we needed for the few judges that were here. You were briefed very briefly to show up and see what was going on, as there was reports of a missing judge, one undercover, and Judge Gilroy, who you'd seen on your way out of HQ, had gone back to kind of give a full report. So you've been sent as a kind of temporary replacement just to back up over the next few days while things are sorted. And then you come to the closed door of the kind of common sleeping area. And you open it. It's dark in here. The lights are off. And laying on a bed as the only other person you can see in here is a judge not in their uniform, in this dark hooded clothing, turned away from the light at the door. And Judge Waits, even at this point, although you're not normally sensitive to artificial like strip lighting, at this point it's an irritant. It's not causing you any harm, it's just the fact that it's light and the lack of blood and the raised veins. It's more psychological than it is anything, but you can feel light coming across as the doors opened.
And I think with her hypersensitivity, she can smell Judge Judy's shampoo, and I imagine it's like apples or something, you know, fresh apple scent. Who are you? She says without turning.
And Judy like shuts the door and she just goes, I thought I had a sense for the dramatic. And I'm a bit offended. I'm Judge Judy.
And Waits frowns. She's read that name. She knows that name. That name was in the papers. Judge Judy was there at that funeral that everyone knows everything about. The funeral and what happened to that body. And she rolls over slowly and frowns and squints. Judge Judy, it is an honor. I'm sorry. I just got off the night shift.
You're doing alright there,
Freedom
champ.
Falls is a problematic place.
Looks like.
Wait, so are you trying to cover your hands or your neck or your face at any point here?
I think she's definitely pulling down those sleeves. She doesn't know if there are veins on her face right now, so she's covering the things that she does know. But she's not obfuscating her face as much. She has turned to look at Judge Judy.
Judge Judy, you can see, and it's kind of difficult in this light, but there looks to be marks coming up along from the neck at the side of the cheeks. And it takes you a moment to notice, but you could almost swear they were enlarged, thickened black veins, but it could just be the light in here. It could just be your eyes. It could just be the shadows playing tricks.
Judy is, she's not one for subtlety. God love her. She walks over to Waits on the bed and she kind of like lifts up her foot and sort of jostles the cot a bit so Waits sort of rolls back and over. What's going on with you?
And Waits is about to lie, as she does every time someone is clearly suspicious about what she is. But she kind of catches Judy's eyes and they're in the dark. She just says one word. Mutant.
Oh.
There's something I need to function. And it's a little hard to come by.
What is it? Can't be that difficult.
It's difficult if you're the law.
Is it?
And Waits frowns. And she glances nervously towards the door, wondering where Talon is, if Talon's listening. And then, very quietly, she sits a little bit up and just mouths the word blood.
Oh, really? That's nothing. What? You are aware that what we do to pups that deserve it, right?
We sentence them to ISO.
The ones that are too bad for the ISO.
They are executed under the criminal code.
There you go. That's 8 pints right there.
Wait.
I don't understand what your problem is here, honestly. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Judy sort of sits down on the cot and just like brushes her hand through her hair.
You really are part of that team, aren't you? I read the reports.
Look, my methods have been described as unorthodox, amongst other words, but nobody can deny that I get results. That's why I'm still here.
Henson sent you. Henson must have figured out we needed more help when Grease put in that... She nearly swears, but she stops herself. We have a lot of problems here, Judge. My health is the least of them.
Alright, so what's the priority?
There were judges here before us. We thought they were dead, but there is evidence that they are both still alive. We have a judge missing, Judge Reinhold, taken. There are 3 major rival gangs more, which have fractured. Judge Talon is running a soup kitchen to try and undermine them, and Judge Grease has gone undercover as an arms dealer. Judge Tech modification.
Whew.
As I said, my health is the least of our problems.
Yeah, no kidding. And here you were just a second ago judging me. Damn.
I read about the funeral.
Hey, I was only partially involved in that.
How do I get blood legally?
I don't know. Hit up a blood bank. Ask somebody who's very kind and generous to offer their neck. Float up to somebody's window at a nighttime, tap menacingly, seduce your way in. I don't know.
I don't think you understand what I am. She's like never had that vampire myth. Somehow that is completely passed her by. I cannot fly, does Judy.
Oh, bummer.
And Judge Judy, you have to then explain this vampire myth to Judge Waits. We're gonna cut to Judge Talon as you make your way up the stairs to the medical center on the floor above. And as you do, it is open, as it always is. And Jana is in there. Looks like she is treating somebody for something, and they kind of finish up as you come in. She doesn't notice you at first. She's busy cleaning up, taking gloves off. She kind of turns around startled. Oh, hi, Judge Talon.
Yes. When you finished, I'd like to invite you down to the refuge for dinner. We're eating a little early tonight. So when you finish up with this patient, could you come with, please?
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, I can just come down when I've done. I've just got to finish up and clean up and...
I'll wait.
Of course. Yeah, sure. And she goes over to the patient, finishes up, and she joins you downstairs maybe 20 minutes later. She's no longer...
Talon left a sack. Talon did leave another sack of apples.
Okay.
She left just kind of without any fuss, just set them on a table.
And for the first time when Jana comes down, you see her not in her scrubs. And she's got this very kind of comfortable, almost jumper-like thing on. Quite cozied up, and the bleach blonde hair that's normally tied up is now loose over her shoulders as she comes downstairs. And
Talon is weird. waiting for her outside of the refuge, and probably just around the corner from the stairwell, is taking her aside and explaining about Judge Waits, about what she saw on the skin, and behavior, going through describing what's been going on. I'm concerned.
Without taking a look, I don't know what it could be. You're certain she's not taken any substances? She wasn't asked to take anything if you've been
She's
to the
barely
arcade?
left the room. She's barely left the room
I see.
since return.
Has she been injured in the last few days? Perhaps a blood infection?
Not that I'm aware of. She's certainly not talking to me. But I told her I was going to get you. It would be nice to also have some company, and also we have a new judge to just arrived, Judge Judy. Good chance for you to get to know her.
Yes, well, if the judge will let me treat her, I will do my best. And she starts to make her way in if you don't stop her.
Yep, I will follow her in, and then kind of just Judge Judy back out in the main room, or still
Judge
in the back?
Judy is you don't see her here.
All right. Wait here a moment, and we'll go back to the bedroom area. Knock on the door.
There's a knock.
I'm gonna imagine that Waits and Judy have agreed to a patrol. They have a number of problems to solve, and the best thing they can do as judges is go and find some criminals. And so Waits is very shakily pulling on her uniform at this point, pretty set and determined.
I think Judy would give her a hand.
Yeah, it's difficult. You're shaking, Waits. Standing is taking so much of your energy, but with Judy's help, you're kind of pushing through. And there's the knock at the door before it's opened, and you can see just Talon is standing there, and Waits, the woman that you recognize as Janna. Just Judy, there is a woman here with this kind of very deep tan, dark skin, and this shock bleach blonde white hair that's flowing over her shoulders. Doesn't appear to be a judge.
Judge Judy, this is Jenna, the block medic. Judge Judy, Judge Waits, I'll go serve you up something for dinner. And Talon is just done with this at the moment, and is going to go back into the kitchen and, serve up some dinner for Judge Judy and for Jenna and herself. Meanwhile, getting everything else organized for the soup kitchen will be starting soon.
Janna looks at you, Judge Judy, and says, it's lovely to meet you. I work in the medical center upstairs. I've been doing what I can to help.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Waits, it's good to see you again. Judge Talon tells me that you are unwell. She asked me to come and take a look.
Talon is mistaken. It's merely been a stressful few days. And I imagine at this point she's got the helmet on.
I'm going to make you roll a test to try and convince
deception.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to ask you to use your endurance, because you've now got to put on this front and you've got to keep that pose and position. And Janna is gonna try and roll against you.
Can I use intimidation on this?
You can, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, I think she's trying to shut up Janna. Like, I'm a judge. I am the law. What I say is the law and is reality. Don't question me. Alright, my endurance is 3, my law is 1, so I'm gonna roll 4 dice. How many is Janna rolling? While I quickly...
Quite a few, being a medic. And having already suspected that you are not well.
Alright. Let me grab 4 dice.
I'll give you a bonus dice, Charlie, for the fact that you've got your uniform on, because Judge Judy has helped you with that.
Alright, so that's the first 4. And an additional 1 for 19 total.
not quite enough to beat Jana. And she looks at you. And she goes to turn, and you haven't quite got one of the gloves on yet. You've just been in the process of getting it on when she's come in, and you suddenly watch as she goes to turn away, her eyes snap to the hand. Just a thin bit of exposed flesh, and you can see the mind of a medic trained to catch the tiniest detail. I don't think you are all right, Judge. Your hand. Please, look, I treat many people in this block. In fact, I'm more concerned that perhaps it's something caused by this block.
There is nothing wrong. How are things at the medical center since we've arrived? Have you enjoyed the increase in law?
It's been very good. Judge Talon has brought us food. I've been able to give proper fresh fruits and vegetables to my patients. It's very much been helping.
You have a patient, a little girl. She's not like everyone else. She
Takes a
knows
moment.
things.
Yes. Yes, I do. How did you...
Judge Reinhold sensed her. Another lie. Reinhold is missing.
She's not going to question it.
As Waits is hurriedly trying to change the subject.
Yes, she comes in quite often. I do tests. We take blood samples, trying to see if there's anything we can do to help her, to make sure that she understands the mutation that she has.
What have your tests found?
There may be something in the blood, but nothing extreme. We're still not sure.
And every time she says the word blood, there's a slight clench of the fist that is in the glove down at her side.
I
And it
imagine
does come
Judy
up.
has like a hand on like Waits' arm, helping her, like steadying her. And every time that Jana says blood, Judy's hand just gets a little bit tighter. Don't do it.
Medic,
If you're in-
are there supplies that you require? Judge Judy and I are about to go on patrol and to search for Judge Reinhold.
No, I'm actually doing okay for supplies at the moment. Look, you seemed very interested in this girl. If you wanted to come up and have a look at her results, if that's of interest to you, feel free. Are you sure
Perhaps
there's nothing
when
I
I'm
can
off
do?
duty.
You sure there's nothing I can do for you, Judge? Just give you perhaps a physical.
You won't find anything.
She looks back at your now gloved hand and she says, I'm not too sure about that.
All right, citizen. She said enough. We're done.
Of course. And,
And
she
Judy
kind
just
of...
gives the head nod, like,
She looks slightly awkward and kind of backs out and makes her way back to Talon. Gratefully takes some food from you if offered.
Judge Talon, Judy says as she's kind of actually, not Judy, that's you. Waits says as she's progressing out of the room. I'm so Star Trek. Judge Judy's with us. Judge Waits is progressing and she turns to Talon. Do you feel equipped to defend the refuge? The refuge. She's had refuse so many times under people's breath in the time she's been listening the last 3 days. The refuge, if Judy and I go on patrol.
I'm sure much more capable than... And then she stops and looks at Judge Judy and looks back at Waits. Well, at least you're getting out. Yes, I'll be fine.
Waits turns to Judy. When we get back, you should try the cooking.
I already have. It's delicious. Should we go?
And you turn around and you leave, leaving Judge Talon to her cooking. Where are you both going? What is your plan? So, Judy, you'll be filled in on the various levels here. You have the most prominent ones are level 34, which is known as the arcade, this expansive, sprawling network inside the level 34, which almost feels more like the outside of a street and passages of alleyways, street food vendors and betting shops, face change clinics, illegal aggro drones. It is the kind of the red light district and the hubbub of this block. There is level 59, which is called ISO 59, a whole level in which its inhabitants are barred in, and it is pretty much the home turf of the caged vipers. They have a few people on the outside who do the running back and forth, and now having to run up multiple sets of stairs thanks to Judge Talon shutting the lift off to that level. But there are plenty of people, both gang-related and non-gang related, that live, work, and die all on that level. You know of the other gangs that are here, which is the Wing Clipper clan, who apparently seem to do a lot of work in the arcade, predominantly the betting shops. One woman called Serena owned one in a recent incident that took place. And they, pretty much most of these gangs, ferry money, one way or another, back to the anti-militia. And they are the people that supposedly have these two judges that were thought to be dead, that Greece said he saw one of them alive. And they seem to be the ones that will pay for dead judges. Seemingly perhaps set up by the old city defense that were here many years prior.
I think, having been briefed on the situation within Freedom Falls, and just being the kind of person that Judy is, she's all about making a scene, making her presence known, letting everybody know that Judy is now on the block. So she mockingly holds out an arm to Waits as if we're about to go, like, just strolling down the promenade. She says, fancy a trip to the arcade?
I am capable of walking. Waits doesn't understand this gesture.
We need to work on your sense of humor.
The arcade is
She
a good
doesn't
choice.
have one.
Gathered! Thanks, Talon.
I admire your husband Kane's work.
Yeah, well, he does his part, I do my part. We make it work.
You're like the arcade. There's like a hint of judgment in that statement.
I can call him for you if you're a big fan.
I don't think that would be appropriate right now. But
Oh,
perhaps
he-
consultation later.
Oh, he'd love that. He'd love
It's
that.
a
You two would get on.
Waits fangirling.
And Judy just kind of looks at Waits and her lack of humor and just general very stiffness. You two would get on like a house on fire. Not
I've never
literally
understood
a
that
house on
expression. Houses on fire are generally bad things. And Waits is leading the way towards the stairs to go up to the arcade.
Judy's considering. She brings up her log of her. She just looks at it. Every damn day. Puts it back in her holster and walks after Waits.
And you have to trudge all the way up the stairs to the arcade. I want to find out, what is Talon doing now? You've been left again in the refuge by yourself with your cooking and your other cooking.
So, after a meal with Jenna and just kind of touching base with imagining that Jenna hears more of the rumors and things that get said than people will be willing to talk in front of Talon, kind of finding out what's going on with Serena and some of the other players that they've gotten to know, some of the other citizens that have seemed that they want to help the judges that are kind of, but can't openly do that. I imagine Jen has been kind of a repository for gossip stories, that kind of thing. So she's touching base with them as they eat. And at the same time, I think she's also at the same time is getting set up for the soup kitchen. The table's coming out. Things are getting dished and dishes are being stacked and all of that kind of thing. She'll have to go over and tinker with the elevator to make sure that it locks to this floor for those that want to come here, and it doesn't go up above. Normally I think it's blocked off to this floor. It'll go to the medical floor. It'll go to the floor below. But anybody that wants to come to this floor is going to have to go up at least a flight of stairs. So she'll adjust that setting so that it now comes to this floor.
Yeah, you can adjust that no problem.
That's just part of the routine for setting up the soup kitchen, getting that out. Has the notebook out that you did the first night with Tetley's help with those descriptions. It's been kind of adding to it each day, making notes about the ones who keep coming, that type of thing.
And you kind of miss Tetley. You kind of got used to Tetley, the last few times, bringing stuff to you. He'd find a pen if you lost one for the notebook, and he'd sit around your feet and occasionally kind of look up at you for some scraps, that last little bit in the bowl that you can't quite get out, but he could, get in and lick. And he's not here, and it makes you think of Reinhold, but you do set up the soup kitchen. You find out from Jana that Serena was obviously let out of the ISO, and you know that. You only put her in there for a day, but she hasn't returned to the block yet. Nobody's seen her. There are rumours that the anti-militia are ramping things up in the arcade ever since the judges were involved in previous incidents. She mentions people have been talking about a woman who approached someone and just handed them a message for the judges somewhere in the arcade. Just told him to bring it down, she'd pay him. She doesn't know what the significance of it is, but she's not quite disturbed, but curious about the fact that so many people have mentioned this woman. Brunette with blonde tips to her hair, very tall. But you speak to some other people. Some of the food vendors come up to see what you're cooking with the ingredients that you say that you want to give them. Some of them even bring food up to add to the table that is here. And it's only a handful, the braver few, the ones that were more defiant, more willing. But it's a stand, and you see on some of the other floors what you assume are some of the gang members watching, looking, observing. Some of them even come down. They thank you for the food.
And Talon is just, we are here to help. The law is here to help, and we are the law.
Make me another reputation test.
Okay. And let's see.
And you can use your law skill with this.
Okay. Ah, 11.
11. Doing this and seeing some of these gang members, some of them rival gangs, and you imagine they're, the petty lower down thugs, the ones who don't really have any skin in this game except for belonging to somebody who might provide them with things. Getting along, standing next to each other, sharing food. It's a start. And some of the food vendors that have come up here to join you This is the first time they've seen that in a very, very long time. And it's nice. It's peaceful. There's still a slightly threatening presence occasionally, but it's peaceful. Just wait.
There's no. I was gonna say, Judge Talon does not have her helmet on. She's got the jacket on. She's got the lawgiver at her side, and she's also got bottled up a little bit of what was cooking on the back burner of the stove. Seeing a little bottle with the sling sitting next to it, because she sees them. She sees them watching up there, and she looks at him, and she will actually at times will make eye contact with them. She'll lock eyes with them, like, I see you, and she'll hold it until they look away. She may even continue dishing up, but she will lock eyes with them every now and again and hold it until they look away.
And the presence is clear. After a while, some of those groups disperse. One or two, you're pretty sure that some people from those groups then come down and get some soup and kind of give you a slight nod, almost of respect. But this is what you spend your time doing, trying not to think about all the other things that are worrying. But Judge Waits and Judge Judy. Judge Judy, you're about to get your first taste of the arcade as you go up onto level 34. And the lighting, which is this bright strip overhead lighting, suddenly the lighting has been covered with something as the lighting begins to dim into this purple glow. And you can hear the thump of loud bass music somewhere off in the distance. And suddenly you're in these corridors, and you can see these rooms that would have once been apartments where walls have been knocked through and doors have been taken off to create what looks to be tradie TV watching areas with these screens all across the wall and people paying to have seats and watch. Off in the distance you can see the sign for what looks like some kind of nightclub, a face change clinic. You can see there are whole apartments that have been knocked through to create one large room just of shuggy, which is pool. People smoking tobacco openly in the corridors, a substance which is controlled and illegal if you're not supposed to be possessing it. There are people who have set up some of these rooms. There are tables in front of the doorway, and behind them are makeshift kitchens as they're selling street food. You suddenly feel like you're outside, like you're in one of the alleyways, the connecting tissues between these mega blocks within Megacity 1 itself, and then you have to remind yourself that you're inside Freedom Falls. And people stop and stare as you and Judge Waits arrive on this level in your uniform.
As Judy takes in what she's seeing, she actually smiles. This reminds her of her childhood. She grew up this close to being a perp. This is where she grew up. This is how she became who she is. And I think she just casually strolls forward, and she walks past like a kid with like a cigarette, like this, like a 13-year-old, maybe just someone, an adolescent, and she just grabs it out of their hand and puts it in her mouth and keeps walking.
And you do so, and the kid doesn't even argue. He just looks at you frightened. It's probably like the first cigarette he's ever smoked. Because as you approached, you watched him trying to light it, and he just got it done. He coughed his lungs up a bit, and he's standing there trying to look a bit cool, nodding at some people. You just come along and just take it out of his hands, and
she just pans around and goes, "Smoking kills." As she's hanging out of her mouth.
You know, he's just like, "What the hell?" You know, and you put it in your mouth, and there's that the tobacco is slightly sweet almost as you taste it. It's been flavored with something. Definitely an illicit substance.
And under her breath, you hear Judge Judy give the judgment for the ingestion of an illicit substance. Just under her breath.
Judge Judy, you just hear Waits giving this under her breath.
Then Waits kind of takes a breath and looks to Judy. Welcome to the arcade.
And Judy like goes, "You know, you really should meet my husband. He does that too." Okay, so this is where we're gonna bump into people, right? This is where the scum hang out. This is where they make their deals. This is where they do their stuff.
Yes. We found a number in the betting shop.
Oh, betting shop. Oh, it's been a while since I've been to a betting shop. Do you want to go place a wager?
There's a room. They
Oh.
put grease there. I believe that is where one of the gang... And she runs through a whole list of words in her head for this person. Operators works.
Right. Who's your biggest problem right now?
In her head, she goes, grease. And out loud, she kind of explains the situation with the Vipers and the Clippers and all of them. My biggest problem is I need to eat and I need them to not know about it. And then I want to find Reinhold. Oh. That's something else you should know.
What?
Judge Reinhold has another judge with him.
Hmm?
Judge Tetley. He has a
Tetley?
canine unit.
Like, the cigarette almost falls off him up. You have a dog? You have a dog.
Judge Tetley belonged to the previous judges stationed at the refuge.
Why was that not even included in my briefing notes? Why was that not the first thing you told me?
An oversight, I apologize. We only suspect he is an IED. I assure you the danger is probably minimal.
I mean, it's dog. They're all, in one way or another, mini IEDs. And I assume Judge Tetley is...
This is a very serious game of Dredd here.
I assume that Judge Tetley is with Reinhold.
That is correct.
Damn.
I believe they're being held captive, hostage. I've heard rumors there are other people like Reinhold here.
Mm.
Reinhold is a psychic judge.
Another.
You're familiar.
Okay. Oh, I was roommates with a Psy judge.
Let's find some perps. And she's adopted the word perps from Judge Judy. In the 3 flights of stairs or wherever it is, she's adopted this word.
There's a little smile of pride. She's like, oh, she's doing it.
As you're going through, Judge waits. You hear whispers as people go past, and some of the gangs, specifically the Cage Vipers, you can hear whispers. The name Marlon Brando. Yeah, he's got Judge Tech just like that. There's a couple of people point at your lawgiver. And you have to fill Judge Judy in on who this Marlon Brando is before she goes and questions one of them, I imagine, who's eyeing up her lawgiver, and you find out this is the cover name for Judge Grease.
Gotcha.
What is your aim here? Are you looking for anyone in particular?
So Judy's very, very not good at all plan is to find one of these perps that is undoubtedly a member of one of these gangs, preferably, I think, the Wing Clippers, because the, killing of judges or ordering of judges to be killed is something she cannot abide, and so she wants to find one of these punks and she wants to quietly make them into dinner for Waits.
Waits will then suggest that we go to that room that Grace was in, where he was meeting with, I forget what her name is, but she was like someone pretty serious.
That was for the Cage Vipers. That was
it
through the
Janie?
nightclub. Janie, yeah. That was for the Cage Vipers, not the Wing Clipper Clan.
Yeah, she'll say she doesn't know where to find a wing clipper right now, but Grease found the wing clippers via Janie and she knows where she is. Or was.
So tell me, Waits, should things kick off, in a phrase, a way to spin it, are you capable of fighting? Can you fight?
I am fully trained by the Horde
I don't
of
care.
Justice in all
That's-
manners of close combat.
That's not what I asked. Can you fight right now? Like how you are, can you fight? I need someone good at my back.
It only takes one finger to pull a trigger. And you can hear the lawgiver crank up the settings.
All right. So, Judy... Oh, God. Judy's the best. She is going to... She's actually uncharacteristically wearing a helmet because Kane, after many years of harassing, has finally convinced her to wear her helmet on missions. After she came back wounded once. This is canon we're building. Canon. She goes to a very public place. I imagine like the center of the food court. She climbs up onto one of the tables. She looks at Waits, notes that Waits has got the lawgiver unholstered. She pulls off her helmet and lets the hair down. And she just shouts, "Wing Clippers, you wanted yourselves a judge, right? How about one of the most famous judges there is? Judy's here, and she wants an audience."
And
people
under her
stop
breath,
and
Waits is
stare.
like, apple shampoo.
And you can smell the apple shampoo. And people stop and stare, Judy. There are whispers. You see a couple of people who you're pretty sure are gang affiliated. You've been filled in on the clipped wing tattoos on the backs of the shoulders, who kind of have a conversation and disappear off. We're pretty sure information's going to get around pretty quickly that you are on the block now, if it wasn't before.
And she is gonna hop down off the table, having made her statement, just saunter over to a food cart. She's gonna get herself like a little kebab, sit down, put her feet up on the table, and look across to Waits and say, "Now we wait." And start eating.
One moment. Illegal lighting fitting. And she's going to shoot out one of those UV bulbs because it's driving her up the wall.
Yeah, and
Look at that.
You shoot it out, it shatters everywhere. A few people scream. There's another woman who's like, "My food!" and, is trying to pick glass shards out of it. Just Judy, you don't even have to pay for your food. The woman at the stand is just like dumbstruck looking at you and just hands it over without even asking you for payment. Just kind of nods. And you sit down and you wait. And you wait. There comes a point in time where there's almost a hint of anxiety starts to step through until you start seeing people whisper. And then a woman shows up. Judge Waits, you recognise this woman from the brief glimpse that you had of her. This is Janie.
Waits will give a nod to Judy.
And Judy will just go to her.
Heard you were calling for Wing Clipper Clan. Seems that they've all flown away.
Oh, and who are you then?
She looks at Waits. Like, she's been on the block long enough, I'm sure she can tell you.
I'd much rather hear it from the horse's mouth.
I'd much rather shoot the horse's mouth. And she pulls out a lawgiver.
Oh, look at that.
I reaction day stick the hand with the lawgiver. Just
You can
like
attempt
quick. Alright, I would like to attempt that.
It's going to be your strength then, but you're going to be at -2 dice because you still haven't any blood.
I've lost my character sheet.
Too many
I
windows.
apparently
open,
closed that
Charlie.
window. Yeah, that's okay. I'm reopening it right now. So I imagine you just hear the click as she just is gonna strike and just trust that the day stick is gonna open all the way in time to smack this woman in the arm. She's just seen a weapon pointed at a judge, and she is like on the wire, waiting for a character sheet to open, desperately wanting to know what her numbers are.
Yeah. So don't forget, subtract 2 dice off
Minus
of whatever
2
you're
dice?
rolling. Yeah.
Alright. I think I also have a trait that makes me good at going first. Oh no, Trouble Sense lets me. It's initiative. Okay. Strength is 3 dice. I go down to 1 dice. Does this count as a club?
Yes.
Okay, so 2 dice total. Oh, that's 3. Ignore the last one. I rolled too many. 2.
2.
Oh.
You go to flick the day stick out, and as you go to hit, you just don't have the strength in you, and it just kind of snaps, and she snaps her arm back, but it's not enough to make her drop the lawgiver. And she looks at you, Judy. She's not pointing the gun at you. She's almost like she's showing it off at you. She's like, "Isn't this an even match?"
No. 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 Even on your very best day, it's not an even match, because do you actually know who I am? Do you?
Oh, I know who you are.
Mm.
That's why I came down here. There's a nice big bet on you, and you can already hear people in the crowd starting to take bets on who is who. And she takes the gun. She goes to fire off a shot at you, Judge Judy. In her mind, she's claiming the money.
Judy doesn't flinch.
I could not have rolled any poorer. 10?
Nope.
And, oh, I know what I do have to do as well.
Yeah, is that one of Marlon Brando's specials?
It is one of Marlon Brando's specials. Let's
Yes!
see. Let's
I mean,
see.
yes-ish. This could also be really
Well,
bad. So for
I
people
mean-
wondering, a Marlon Brando special has been rigged to randomize what it shoots. One of the options is a Russian roulette bullet that will explode the entire device, but otherwise we flick between the different types of ammo.
What did I roll? 2.
The 2.
You watch as the round comes flying past your shoulder and shatters the wall behind you. Armor piercing, you think? Huh. Well, I guess we're in initiative now. So let's have everyone roll initiative.
I think, waits if you'll allow this. Virginia gets on that radio and just lets Talon know there's an incident underway in the arcade.
What do you say?
Literally, incident underway in the arcade. I think that's all she's going to have time to really get out at this point.
And that's what you get, Talon. Incident underway in the arcade.
Talon's going to look at Jenna and say, "Can you handle this?" And snatch up a couple of her pre-made bottles and her sling and her helmet and head for the arcade.
Okay. Yeah, she can take over and you make your way up there. Just roll me initiative for now. It's going to take you a couple of rounds to get up there, though. So
Okay,
let's
and
see.
then-
This initiative order is weight.
It's agility, correct?
Agility. Intuition.
Intuition.
Initiative. Yeah,
In-
Just intuition. Okay.
that is.
Plus any
weight,
bonuses from your traits and things.
Then Judy. Then. Oh.
We bring Susie in, and within half an hour, she's shooting up the place.
Hey, I didn't shoot first.
Let's see.
Susie didn't shoot first.
I'm innocent.
Well, I
Wait,
think that
you
one's
are-
debatable.
You are up first as the shot has gone off. And you know how dangerous starting a fight in the arcade can be.
Yeah, instead of shooting Janie, Waits is actually looking because she knows that these guys have had like RPGs. She knows Janie is not dumb and probably is not here on her own to start a fight with 2 judges. So she is automatically just scanning everyone around and she's looking for those weapons. Her hand is on the lawgiver, but she's not firing it at the moment. She's looking for who else here has a gun or a weapon that is dangerous.
Janie clearly has 2 other women with her. They look like the ones, you can't remember their names now, the ones that Grease was talking to at the very beginning, that you spied down the hallway, the ones who gave him the cigarette. In the crowd, there are a couple of people. You can see people are taking bets. There's a couple of people who've got like flick knives out, but you think that's more to do with the money being exchanged around than it is to do with what's happening here. You've noticed that people tend not to get involved with stuff once bets are underway. You know how much money there is in the betting on dead judges, and you imagine the consequences for interfering are severe.
Okay, does that count as an action to scan the crowd?
You get 2 actions in a turn, so I'll take that as the kind of first one.
Okay, so she's not going to aim, she's just going to auto fire on one of Janie's flanking women.
Okay, you can go for the one closest to you. What kind of round are you using in your lawgiver?
Stun.
Okay, so stun charge. You're going to make your test, and this is
You know what? She's in a bad mood. It's probably set to kill. She was showing off to Judy. She probably cranked it all the way.
Standard execution round then.
Yeah, standard execution round.
Okay, make your attack as normal then. But you are going to be, I'm going to say -2 dice for this. Because
I've never made an attack roll before. I need to find my
you
thing.
have, Charlie.
I don't think I have. Oh, I think I've made like 1 before when we were shooting the guys shooting the
Because you guys talk
Okay.
yourselves out of everything.
I mean, because we
somehow.
normally have Grease with us, and then Reinhold adopts whoever we find. Okay, so how do I make an attack roll, Gina? Remind me.
I'm just getting to that. I want to make sure I get it right, because after having just come straight off track,
Yeah,
my
totally.
brain is still in. Here you go.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still thinking about D20s.
it's your. Yeah. It's either your strength, ranged attack, sorry, is either your agility or intuition
Okay.
against your target's range defense. So if you've got pistols as a
Alright.
thing, you can also add that skill.
Do so. I'm gonna roll a total of 5 dice.
5 dice and then -2 off of that.
Yep.
You haven't done that.
So
already.
that's 3. Do you want me to just roll all of them? Just roll the 3.
Just roll 3.
Yeah.
I think that is the correct way to do it.
Alright, so that's 13 total.
Yeah, that'll still hit. Even weakened, you are a better shot
And
than they have
I
armor.
have a trait which is Deadly Strike. You inflict an additional 1d6 damage on a successful hit. For ranged attack, this is likely a headshot. You can only gain 1 damage though.
Okay, so you are rolling in total, including that, then 3d6 and then add 2.
Okay. Oh, I rolled 4. Ignore the last one. 3, 7, 8. Plus 2 is 10.
10. Okay. You take one really good headshot at this woman and she drops over. She's not dead. It's kind of like grazed across the side of her face. But it's like the impact is enough to knock her to the floor, and you imagine she's quite dazed, confused, and in a hell of a lot of pain, if not a little bit concussed. As this bullet has scraped across her. Next in there we have Judy, as you watch Waits drop one of these women, and Janie is now standing there still with the gun out, and she doesn't look afraid. She doesn't look shocked. She looks like she's waiting.
So she's right in front of me, right? Because I'm sat down and she walked right up to
Yeah.
me with this gun. Okay, so Judy has, while she's been sat here at her side, she's popped out her day stick. And it's just kind of dangling. She's got one arm dropped. She's got one hand up, obviously, that she's using to very nonchalantly prop up her chin. And she is gonna stand. And as she does and steps forward, she's gonna try and hit her in the head. But as she does, she's gonna like step forward into her sort of open legs and try and trip her behind one leg. So as she comes forward, she's like, the momentum is just like it's kind of like a judo sort of throw, but punch to the face with a stick.
Okay, go for it. I'm gonna say this is gonna be like strength then over agility.
Yeah.
Because it's that.
Shall I roll this as a day stick attack then? Because I am still hitting her with the day stick.
Yes. If you hit, I'll give you a little bit of extra damage from the actual, like, the force of the momentum that you're using.
Okay, so I do get to roll 5d6 to hit with the day stick, because Judy's a beast.
I would expect nothing less from you,
14?
Susie. I mean, yeah, that'll do it.
Okay, so her normal damage is 3d6 plus 4, because she does have the trait of, like, it's not police brutality, it's pacification. Oh.
Add an extra d6 to that.
9 plus 4, 13.
Yeah, you hit her, and you hit her hard. She goes down. She's not out. She takes the hit, and she barely even grunts in pain. I imagine it's something you can almost respect, as like the side of her face is kind of bleeding. She's still got the lawgiver in her hand. She hasn't let go of it as she kind of spits out some blood and a tooth and kind of looks up at you and kind of nods as if to tell you the game is on.
Mm-hmm. And Judy just returns that nod and a smile, and stares down. But yeah, she's not going to move anywhere. She's focused on this woman, and especially keeping her occupied.
And for the fun of it, I'm going to do some fun narrative timing stuff because I want to get Judge Talon up here to see if she's going to put on some more bets with a packet of cigarettes. So, narrative, fluffy timing. Judge Talon, you arrive just on the scene. I imagine perhaps you rigged the elevator to take you up to this floor. Maybe you've got your own little passcode to it. And you just watch as Judge Judy has just lamped this woman with a day stick who's now on the floor. Judge waits. You know, you had a gunshot on your way up here, and you come into this as you're pushing past people who are taking bets in credits, in cigarettes, in all sorts of other contraband. What are you doing?
Well, Judge Talon, she's got the rocket sling on one wrist. Underneath the jacket, and the other hand that's just kind of hanging down at her side. The other hand's in her pocket, and in the pocket is half a pack of cigarettes and the 2 little glass bottles of her special recipe. And she walks in, and as she gets about, just as she kind of clears through the crowd, she grabs the pack of cigarettes, pulls one out, and says, "Half a pack on the judges," drops the thing of cigarettes, reaches for the bottle, puts it in, and pulls back with the sling to fire. And she takes aim across the way.
As you drop that, the people in front of you scramble for the half pack of cigarettes as someone tries to write it down, and it gives you that nice clear shot. Go ahead and make your attack.
All right. So let's see. We got the 2d6 for perfect aim. No penalty for that. Okay. And this is agility, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5d6. $18.
That'll hit, and that's gonna do a nice kind of.
It's 3d6 of heat damage to everybody within a 5-foot radius of where it lands.
Who are you aiming at? There is the goon that is the other side, or you've got Janie who's in front of Judge Judy.
The goon that's on the other side. If she's seen the goon, she knows that there's going to be a cluster of these guys to back up Janie, ready to charge in. So that's where
roll
she's
for your
going.
damage, because that will just catch Janie as well, but not quite Judge Judy.
Okay. So that's 12 heat damage.
Judy, you hear something come through the air as a bottle smashes, and there is a loud explosion. There's not a lot of like throwback force, but there's like this large volume of heat. It reminds you of the kind of the heat, like the high incendiary rounds that you have in your lawgiver, as this other woman who was with this woman who identified herself as Janie, like, gets hit by this substance that just erupts in flames as she screams. And the actual blowback of the heat, you feel the warmth, but Janie on the floor gets the brunt of it as well, as she kind of covers herself up. She's got a little bit of resistance from this because of her, like, how low down she is. Obviously, heat rises, but you can tell as she kind of grits her teeth. It was going to be that person's turn, but you've taken them out, Talon. So it is now back to Janie, who is picking herself up off the floor, and as she does so, just whips the pistol up and takes another shot, point blank range at you, Judge Judy. And what she says is high explosive. Whether or not that's what she gets, we shall see.
All right.
Not even close, is it? 9.
Nope.
And the round goes off, and let's see what it is.
No.
You almost instinctively kind of shield your eyes back in case it is a high explosive round. And you're not so much covering your face as you are protecting from the potential kind of the fallout and the explosion. And what you see is there's a click. There's a charge that you just expect. The explosion doesn't come anywhere near you. There is the sound of the beeping self-destruct of a lawgiver as there is a small contained explosion at the wrist, and Janie screams out as the lawgiver explodes in her hand. A true Marlon Brando special, as she's now grasping at where there once was a hand and it is now just a wrist, as she screams in pain, and she looks round to her girls and they're both on the floor, one of them being put out, the other one still dazed and kind of like can't even get herself up from the head wound that Waits has given her. And she goes as if she's reaching for something else, perhaps another gun, perhaps a knife, and she can't. There's blood, and she's screaming. Talon, somebody throws an entire pack of cigarettes towards you. The crowd not even really having noticed that you fired that off as they were scrambling for it, clearly declaring that the judges have won this fight.
Back in the pocket.
I like how you've got contraband.
With this blood just pouring out of this wound, Waits surges forwards, almost in like a stumble, and is just over the top and crouching down.
I think Judy, Judy kind of wants to stop this happening in public, right? Like, this is not a good thing to see in public. So I think Judy kind of wants to just like put an arm out to stop Waits. Because also, she needs to have a little dig at this woman whose hands just exploded, because it's Judy first, right?
Waits, as Judy puts her hand out, does it stop you, or do you just barrel past?
I imagine, because Judy's trying to cover, like, there's a bit of a shove to it, like, this one's mine, don't even.
Oh, yeah, it's not like a, don't come here, it's like a BAM!
Yeah, so I would imagine, like, with Judy's strength, like, Waits is actually, like, pushed back, and you can see in her eyes, like, she really does want to be in there and not, but she's taking a deep breath, and with that UV light shattered, I think she's okay for, like, this second.
Mm-hmm. You get pushed back, and it almost wins you, where you're weakened, and now the adrenaline is going down from this fight. Some of that strength is leaving you, and Judy, you put your arm out and you stop Waits.
Mm-hmm. I turn to the woman. I turn to Waits and I say, 1 minute, not here. And then she goes down, she picks up Janie by the collar, lifts her up until she's face to face with Judy. So, like, Judy's not
There
small.
is blood going all over your uniform.
Don't care. Been there before. And she holds her up and she says, look, I told you, even on your best day, you are never, ever gonna be good enough. And then she just sort of slings her over her shoulder and starts to walk away. Waits.
There is a trail.
Talon steps forward, puts her back to to Judge Judy and Judge Waits, kind of giving them a little bit of cover as they pick up Janie and walk up. And Talon's got the next bottle loaded. Disperse. Citizens, return to your homes now. The arcade is closed for the next 60 minutes. Disperse.
As people begin to move out this way. You don't know if they're going back to places in the arcade, but they're leaving this area immediately either way.
And Waits, hearing that, just like hisses interrogation, and she'll blow out another one of the UV bulbs on our way out, not wanting to walk under another one.
And it shatters everywhere, and it causes people to then start running. And you begin to hear the usual whispers. the anti-militia. What will they do? What's going to happen? You know, as you make your way out, and I imagine to one of the stairwells.
Oh yeah, we want somewhere quiet, secluded, where no one's gonna see this.
Yeah.
You
Talon
go
will be covering from the rear.
Yeah, you go up rather than down because you know that there could be retaliation from this. And the refuge is probably not the best place to be standing in front of right now. So you make your way up to some of the other residential areas, these quieter stairwells. And this is where you find yourself on a stairwell between a few levels. It's quiet, there's nobody here. The only sound that you can hear is the sound of your boots, the dripping of the blood, and the screaming of this woman who is slowly dying down as she gets to the point of passing out, essentially, over your shoulder, Judy.
Mm-hmm. So once we get to somewhere secluded, Judy's just gonna like throw her off her shoulders, drop her on the ground. Like she's not taking any care. She turns to Waits.
She's barely conscious.
How fresh does she need to be?
We should... And Waits is like clearly like almost woozy with how bad she wants this right now. We should keep her alive. She might know where Reinhold is, but first I need to eat.
Work away.
And she'll position herself to kind of cover what she's doing, almost be crouched down over the arm, but then she'll take that stub and just begin to eat. And I imagine because she's so hungry, like the teeth tear in to rip it fresh. Anything that's cauterized is being torn apart. It's like really good sticky ribs for Waits right now.
Not at all. You've just eaten or anything.
Not at all.
And
I just had. Mm-hmm.
I imagine that Talon and Judy kind of do the turning the back, like covering the thing, but the curious look over the shoulder.
Oh, Judy's like...
Yeah. Talon,
she's rubbernecking like a
Talon, once she got them to the stairwell, knowing what happened the last time things went down, and that she left Jana by herself in front of the refuge with the soup kitchen, she's like, as soon as they're in the stairwell, Talon's gone. She's in the elevator, locking it down, back down to the refuge, and I mean, she comes out of there, locks the elevator, and is just getting everybody away and getting Janet inside and locking down.
Okay, and you do that. You get inside and begin to lock down. You don't even see what happens here with Waits. You still don't know. You don't know why they brought this woman here. Maybe it's just quieter. But Waits, you finish feeding, and the woman is barely conscious, and you're dripping blood, but your strength has returned. You can feel it. You can feel the veins sinking back to their rightful place. The black turning to the blues and reds and greens that they normally are. As you start to feel, you stop hearing these 1,000 heartbeats that you're imagining. And so you can just hear your own and maybe Judy's from under the uniform.
And Waits reaches into the pocket underneath the armor of the judge's uniform and pulls out a little packet of wet wipes. She flicks out one of the wet wipes and just kind of steadily cleans up, wipes over the helmet. She'll put it into like a little disposal baggie and tuck it away, and then offer Judy a wet wipe.
And Judy, I think, is just drenched in blood because she's been carrying this one over her shoulder, and she's like, don't think that's going to cover it, Chief.
Judy tucks them away, and now she pulls out her notepad, her judge's notepad, and she kind of kicks Jana, not like aggressively, but just like a nudge with the tip of her boot.
And
you need
Janie
to talk, unless you want to die.
And
Janie, sorry.
She can't focus her eyes. She's still losing blood.
Judy whips off the belt that's around her. She's got two belts, one for style, one for tactical pouches. She whips off the style belt and she does like a tourniquet around the arm.
So 2002 of you. Two fucking belts. Are they the studded ones as well? Like the classic grommet? Yeah.
But they're only studded round the back, not round the front.
Oh yeah, not around the front.
Yeah. You whip it off and you tourniquet it, and imagine you've got a med kit. You can apply some wound dressings and some pain relief, just enough to kind of, and it takes a good 20 minutes, half an hour for her to kind of regain any sense of like being able to focus on anything anyone's saying to her. And she's like, "What did you do to me?"
Now, kid, you did that to yourself.
Possession of Judge Tech, and Waits begins streaming off the various crimes, and she is proudly writing this shit down in the notebook and adding up the ISO out. Like,
as Waits is doing that and like stood in the background with a notepad doing it, Judy crouches down right in front of her and she takes her chin in her hands. Now, we've just met and I feel like we got off on a real bad foot. My friend here is telling me that you've been quite the pain in the ass. And you might know where one of our friends is.
You want to be talking to the anti-militia? All we care about is the tech. Not particularly you lot. And she spits out another load of blood from her mouth. Not at you, but just kind of to the side. But it's close enough that it's a bit... Ugh.
Is that true, Waits? Is she lying to me?
Send me to ISO if you're going to send me to ISO.
I believe it is unlikely that this individual will not know something of the judge's disappearance.
So you are lying to me. Oh, now that's just really unfortunate. And Judy takes that stump and she squeezes.
This woman, like, she screams. Okay, what? I don't know what I can tell you.
Waits. You know more about this situation than I do.
I got the tech from Brando. Marlene Brando is a chimp. He keeps...
We do not care about the tech. We care about the missing judges. And she is going to give a description of Reinhold and then Tetley. And then the woman... Because we have a suspicion, right? We got a description or something about this strange woman.
The strange woman, yeah, the brunette, the very tall brunette with these kind of like blonde tips to her hair.
And Waits will give that description as well.
She's like, I don't know that. I mean, I've heard of them. Everyone has. I haven't seen him. God, we don't do kidnappings. It's not our style. I know, there was a dog wandering around somewhere. I don't know if that's the one you're looking for. There's all sorts of... Downstairs in the arcade. But I mean, there's a few that wander around there. I don't know. I don't keep track. Not a fan of the things myself.
Judge Judy, are there any further questions for this interrogation?
She sizes her up. No, I think I'm done with her.
Attempted murder of a judge is punishable by execution. Waits gives Judy a meaningful look like we're gonna have to kill her.
Oh yeah, Judy's like, duh.
But
Now, what was your name again? Janet?
Janice.
Janice?
Sorry, Janie. I couldn't even get that right then.
Now, I'm sorry our time together was so brief, Janie, but it's been real. You got anything else to say?
If you send me to ISO, I'll tell you about the woman.
Now, Janie. Now we're getting somewhere. And at this point, she pulled out, actually she had her logger and she was just about to put it under her chin. See, I knew you had more in you. What? Talk to us.
Want it written out first. That one there, she's always writing stuff out.
Obstruction of justice. 5 years in ISO. She adds it to the list.
What's that total at now, Waits?
295.
Ooh.
Perhaps
Are you sure?
being a good, helpful citizen might reduce some of that time. You know, since this woman apparently is really important to you.
How important is she really, Waits? Is she that important? Because, I mean, we have right here someone who attempted to murder a judge. Fired 2 shots at me, actually, specifically.
I mean, neither of those shots hit you.
No,
Execute
but,
me if you want, but then I won't say a thing. Your call, Judge.
Waits
And
shoots
Judy
her in the
kind
knee.
of- Oh.
What?
Waits shoots her in the knee. As now, she doesn't like playing games, and this woman is playing games, and Waits is patience. She's just had food. So she's back in
Charlie.
in power.
What round are you shooting her with?
Oh, did Waits forget to correct what was in the gun? Oh, that's bad.
Roll me
If
2d6
Waits
plus 2.
has the state of mind, she would flick it to stun, but I don't know if she thought about it.
Roll me
2d6.
2d6 plus 2, Charlie.
7 plus 2 is 9.
You shoot her in the knee and she starts coughing up blood. And within
And
moments...
Judy does their big slap around their face, like, Janie, don't you go at me, Janie. She's like shaking her.
And you slap her around the face and she locks eyes with you and says, the woman, she... and she coughs up and just slumps over. As you've got like hold of her collar, just slumps over.
Ah, shit.
And Waits is straight on the comms to Talon and says, we need a medic into the arcade. Now.
What's going on at the refuge? Did we get under attack?
You arrive back and it seems that word hasn't spread quite that fast. The soup kitchen is dying down. It looks like Jana has pretty much got through, a fair amount of what you've kind of left. Getting back from the arcade, like getting Janie to the stairwell, took some time. And she greets you and looks at you as you're slightly bloodied in places. Is everything okay? Are you injured? Would you like me to check you out?
I'm fine. We had an incident in the arcade. There may be retaliation very shortly. We need to get these people home. You need to get to safety. I need to lock down.
And she starts helping you clear tables away, ushering people away. She offers people, if they wish, they can come up and stay in the medical center where it's safe. You know that there are bars over the windows and stuff up there. And unless you try to stop her, that's where she will go.
Nope, I won't try to stop her. And Talon, I think, is going to position herself at the refuge, again, where she can see. She's got line of sight from where they fired the last time and where the fire would likely come from. And she's standing there waiting for them. And she's got a couple of more of her little bottles and her sling. And she's just looking, watching, because as soon as she sees them, she will fire first.
Yeah, and you keep this eye out, and a few groups of people do kind of stand and they see you watching and they walk off. You don't think that they were up to anything, but perhaps took the judge, on watch as a sign that perhaps they shouldn't be standing around. Right. And you do get the call for a medic to come through to the location.
I think it would be
White.
like an open judge com, because she would really be paging Gilroy.
And I think I think at this point they probably would have set up some type of comm with Jana, so that if they need her quickly, they can do it without having to yell up a floor or whatever. So I think Talon would just kind of switched over, and Jana went medic to arcade to judges.
And you get the message back that she's grabbing her kit and she's on the way.
Flip back over.
Do you accompany her?
No, staying at the refuge.
Okay. Jana arrives on scene maybe 10 minutes later with like a medical bag over her shoulder, and she's like, how can I help? I got here as quick as I could. And then her face drops. I don't
Judge
think I
Tech
can help.
in not judge hands is a dangerous thing.
Yes. I'm not sure that my services are required here, judges.
You got a body bag in there?
No, but I'm sure you'd be able to contact a crew to come and clean up. That's what they normally do here.
Hmm. Why did you call him medic weights?
Life tends to be stubborn in these places.
Life here hasn't met me, clearly. Sorry,
Wait,
medic,
so
your services are no longer required.
That's fine. She looks at you, Waits. You look better. Looks down the body. Looks at the blood you're both covered in. Unless there's anything else you need.
Stay with us for a moment. We need to patrol the arcade. And then we will escort you back to level 26.
And she will stay with you. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Waits is going to walk straight out into that larger area we were just in and declare if anyone has information on the whereabouts of missing Judge Reinhold and missing Judge Tetley, they will report to her now.
Make me a reputation test.
Okay. And as we do that, Kat's raised a good point in the green room. What happens to the other two women? Are they still there, or have people removed them?
They have been removed. You don't think they were dead, but they were seriously injured enough that they've probably been taken somewhere to be treated by somebody. Maybe even ending up in Jana's clinic at some point.
Can I do reputation plus intimidation?
Yes.
Alright, 3 dice for me. I keep picking up 4. Put them down. I just want 3. Getting overexcited with my dice. 9.
9. You shout this out, and a few people kind of whisper and mutter, but nobody really comes forward. You get the idea that nobody wants to be the one that comes forward in public. Nobody wants to be shot in the back as they try to step forward. But there are people who definitely look like they've got something to say, but they don't say it.
This arcade belongs to the Hall of Justice until the information is brought forward. And Waits looks at Judy like, I guess we're setting up camp.
Mm-hmm. And Judy is like making a big show of how much she's not going to move. So she set her helmet down on a table. She's grabbed like a tea towel or something from one of the food stalls and is just kind of mopping herself off.
There is a young kid comes up to you, maybe 12 or so in age, and he's carrying a little bucket and a scrub brush, and he says, 2 credits and I'll scrub you down, Judge. Starts dipping the scrub brush in there.
And Judy kind of just looks at him. She's like, I admire that guts. No, go ahead.
And he starts, like, he scrubs at your boots, and you know, he's quite happy. Like, it's not the best
She's
job
keeping
in the
an
world.
eye on him, though. Yeah, she's
It's
making sure he's not
going
going
to. World.
Mm-hmm.
He's you know, he doesn't get it all, but he's kind of, you suspect that he's seen a chance to perhaps make a couple of credits, and like gets that little cloth and polishes up the badge, dunks it in. There's still blood everywhere. It's okay. Like he's not really put any elbow grease into it.
Yeah. But yeah, she makes a show of accepting this from this kid in front of all these people that are watching. She's also keeping an eye on him because she knows she was a kid like him once. She knows that kids like that pull some shit. So she's got her boot knife in her boot, and she's very familiar with how it feels, and she's making sure it stays there. You know, the lawgiver.
He does have a moment where, as he's kind of scrubbing, he kind of like lifts it a little, but you think it's more curiosity than anything, as he kind of like tucks it back and then checks to see if you've been like, if he's been spotted.
She kind of gives him a wink. And you said there's a couple people in the crowd that look like they kind of want to say something, but they don't want to be seen to be coming forward. So after this kid's like scrubbed her down, Judy's just gonna like, I don't know, she's gonna march out to one of these people and just grab them.
And you do, by the collar and this, it's a slightly older man, maybe in his 40s. He's like, I haven't done anything, Judge, I swear, I swear.
No, I just want to ask you some questions.
I don't know anything. I just, whatever it is,
And
I
she
don't know
grabs
anything.
somebody else with her other arm. You two, come over here. And she's
Neither
just
of us-
grabbing.
And Judge Waite, she watches this is happening. And what you can do if you'd like, you know that Serena's betting shop is currently empty as she's not returned to the block, so you can drag them there. And you seat these people down.
Waits is, I'm imagining, feeling kind of like a massive adrenaline rush. Like a blood rush, I guess. And she'll like kick in the boards that are across the door of the betting shop and just like wave them in. She'll flick the light switch really daintily though to turn on the lights.
Just Talon, what are you doing back at the refuge?
First, keeping watch, see if a retaliatory attack is going to happen, and we'll probably stand there for a good hour on watch. If no attack comes at that point, we'll reset the elevator. Check in with, and it at various times is checking, probably about every 10 minutes is checking in on comms with Judge Waits and Judge Judy, just to make sure that everything's okay, and letting them know that the refuge so far has not come under attack. Make sure that the eagle is, and the shield is still nice and visible on the outside of the refuge.
You go over and give it a quick kind of repaint, touch up the edges where some of the paint's flaked off. But no attack, no retaliation here. It's both relieving but also suspicious. And it worries you. Perhaps the retaliation isn't so obvious. What if the retaliation is whatever's happening to Reinhold at this very moment? Or Tetley? Who knows? Susie looks like she's going to come through the screen and kill me at that suggestion.
Yeah. Tetley is off limits.
Waits and Judy, you try to question these people. They give you not too much information. A couple of them say that they've seen the woman that you're asking about, but they don't know who she is. She's seen occasionally now and then in the arcade, but they think she lives somewhere in the block. She's known for coming down, passing on messages or letters to people, and that's about it.
The
they
word
don't even see her
down
often enough.
It's definitely a flag for Waits. That means she's from up.
Yeah.
And she kind of runs through those levels in her mind. And she looks to Judy and looks to the arcade. How do you fancy going up?
Show me the whole block, baby.
One of the people here says something very curious to you, Waits, and it sticks in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you think that was their intent, but just the words. When you ask if they know who this woman is, say, I don't know, you'd have to ask somebody who knows things like this. I can't tell you anything.
Who
but
knows?
The words
things.
play in your mind. Somebody who knows things. The note that you were given from this woman that you saw when you returned.
Hmm.
Only I can see him now. You still don't know what it means. And I imagine you are going to have to take a little bit of stock here because you said this was under control of you guys.
I have another idea, Judge, about where we can go. Perhaps you can stay here and watch the arcade. Keep the medic with you.
Where are you
We need
going?
to hold the arcade down. I have a friend on another level that I need to speak to.
All right, I quite like it here. Yeah, I'll set up camp. I feel like I'm getting along well with the people. I've made a connection.
Waits will
Judge-
also page Talon to let Talon know that Judy and Jana will be in the arcade until further notice.
The
Talon-
first few words are kind of mumbled because Talon has a split cigarette in their mouth and has to take it out real quick. Understood. It's standing guard. We'll stay here at the refuge.
And Waits will also call for Gilroy and Grease to report in at their next available convenience. And there's a level of salt in her voice.
I imagine there's more salt at Grease than Gilroy, because Gilroy
Yeah.
is back at HQ. Gilroy is probably in a very long debrief at this moment in time, explaining what's been happening up to this point. Grease doesn't call in, though. It's starting to get a little bit worrying.
Suspicious.
put-
Yes, worrying.
I imagine... I imagine that you may even put a call out to Reinhold in the off chance that he answers, but there is nothing. Where are you going, Waits?
She is going down to the apartment where the woman said she lived with the little girl who was like Reinhold.
Yes,
She
you know
needs to
that
see someone who knows, and she needs to find someone who can see.
you do know that this little girl is what would be considered psychometry. So she has to touch something to know something about it. So is there anything you want to bring to her?
I think that she would have with her Reinhold's hat that he wore to the arcade that day that he tried to give away, but I don't think he actually did. The trucker hat.
I think he actually put it on the guy he called
Away.
Scumbag One.
The flip guy. Or whatever. Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay.
Scumbag One. We never named him.
I think she would have something of Reinhold's. Maybe when he does his like meditatory thing, he has something with him that was left
Or
behind.
you could take the note that was given.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you go down and you try to navigate your way back there, and you try to remember the directions you were given, and it's hard because you were so bloodthirsty at the time, but you think you found the right door.
And I think she'll use her notebook because she was note-taking all of the crimes on the way, and she'll go through and she'll rapidly try and find notes to see if she wrote down any street names or, you know, little landmarks.
But yeah, you do find what you think is the right door.
And she knocks.
There's a couple of clicks as some locks are undone and the door is opened, and there is the same woman, and in the background you can hear a young girl giggling. It's like, Judge, wait. She looks at your
Correct.
badge to double check. How can I help? And she turns back. Darling, be quiet. There's someone important here.
I need to speak with your daughter regarding the disappearance of a judge. I know this is
She's only-
sensitive, and I understand. She is only a child,
Oh,
but I need her to see.
yes, of course. Sorry, I do apologise. She's come home with just come in. And you go in and she offers you to sit down and she calls her daughter out of the bedroom. This little girl comes through and in tow, a dog. Which as soon as it sees you, Judge Waits, looks and sits.
Judge Tetley, it's nice of you to report for duty.
This is your dog? We found him wandering. She went out to play in the corridor and came back with... I do apologise, Judge. I hope we're not going to get written up for this, are we? We didn't know.
No, assistance of a judge in trouble is a noble and worthy civic duty.
And you can see Tetley isn't wearing his collar.
So she kind of buzzes in that Judge Tetley has been located, and then cuts off her radio completely, not wanting to interfere, not entirely knowing how this is going to work. And
Tetley comes up to you, sniffs at your feet, starts padding. She's like, I don't know if it means anything then, but he was carrying this. And she hands you this chunk of fabric. It's like, I kept trying to put it in the bin, but he'd go in and get it again. So I don't know, I thought it might have just been a toy for him or something, but maybe. She hands it to you and you feel the fabric. and it reminds you of the material your trousers are made from. That
Judge
thick
uniform.
judge uniform fabric. And Tetley sits across your feet, paws in front, head down, as you sit on this woman's sofa, and this child plays in front of you with what looks like some empty, like, cereal boxes that have been painted in bright colours to make building blocks. How can we help, Judge?
And Waits will kind of pet Tetley very briefly. And now
Who
she's
knows?
really thinking. Someone who knows. And she looks to the girl and squeezes that note in her free hand. And then she'll ask the child where she found Tetley. Trying to make
And
up her mind whether she's about to take Tetley for a walk or if she's going to make this girl try and do something that she may not be able to control.
She just kind of tells you, and she's only maybe 5 or 6.
Mhm.
And she does the typical, like, childlike story. And then there was this, and, you know, she says that she went out to play in the corridor and she saw the dog. So she followed the dog, and the dog kind of brought her back to the corridor. So then she brought the dog inside and gave it some food, because he looked hungry because he was chewing on this piece of fabric. And then Mummy tried to throw the fabric away, but the doggy still wanted the fabric. You know, it's the typical kid story that just goes on and on. But apparently she found him wandering the corridors.
And Waits lets her talk and doesn't show any signs of impatience. But if the mother's watching, she'll see that Waits is kind of glazing as her brain is working on what to do.
She just waits nervously. She's sat on the floor with her daughter, who's like telling you the story while she's putting these painted cereal boxes together in different formations.
I have a wild question. How are credits transferred?
Honestly, off the top of my head, I do not know.
Okay, so Waits is gonna pull a credit stick, that's what I'm gonna call it, from her pocket, and she'll hand that to the mother, and then turn to the little girl. Judge Tetley has work to do, but I will be sure that he comes to visit you soon.
She looks kind of sad and she hugs him. And, you know, you imagine any other dog would be uncomfortable, but Tetley just kind of sits there and takes it. And she's crying a little bit as her mum tries to explain that, you know, this is Judge Waits's dog. We've got to let the dog go home now.
I promise, when Judge Tetley is off duty, he will be here to visit you. He has chosen you.
Do you leave Judge Waits?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Tetley isn't following with like a click and heel kind of command, then she will pick up the dog and carry him out.
Oh, Tetley follows.
Okay.
He takes
She'll
the scrap
take with
of
her
fabric
the,
off your lap
yeah.
and holds onto it in his mouth as if he's saying, I'll carry this.
All right, Judge Tetley. Where is he?
He
And then
sits
she
on the
scoots
floor
down closer to him.
and he tilts his head at you and lowers it.
Where is he, boy? Where's Reinhold?
He just kind of lays in front of you. And you can only interpret it as a, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
As he kind of like pulls at the fabric in his mouth.
And she looks over her shoulder at the house, but decides not to go back for now. They found Judge Tetley, that's a start, and they found him here, not far from here. And she'll take Judge Tetley down to the next floor, because I think we're only like a floor up. I think I'm on floor 26.
Yeah.
So she'll go down to 25 and return Tetley to the refuge and call in to Judge Judy that one of the judges has been located.
Did you tell her which judge?
Nope.
She would say, which judge?
Judge Tetley.
She could, you can't see her, but she goes, yes.
Would you like to go back to the refuge to visit Judge Tetley?
Yes. I have to pet my boy before we end. I have to.
I also imagine there's only so long that you can sit around in the refuge as well, because you have been told that the anti-militia will come out in force. They nearly did once before. So you answer your questions, you make your presence known, and then you leave as soon as you start hearing the whispers, which you do start hearing, and you make your way back down to the refuge. And there you find Judge Waits.
All on like Judge tickets, except instead of like being a ticket, it's just Judge Judy in like loopy Disney writing
with a lipstick kiss on it.
You then have Judge Waits and Judge Talon as you come in, fussing over Tetley, who's bothering Talon for some food.
Oh, there is just, I mean, a big bowl of just everything, all the scraps that have been saved up, and the choicest little bits of meat that have been set aside. Oh, yes.
And there is Judge Tetley. And oddly enough, Susie, you recognise this dog. You knew a judge once. And you hadn't realised she'd ever been assigned here. But there was a judge, Judge Shay. She used to be on a similar round as you. You saw each other in the mornings. You used to have lockers next to each other. And she had a dog, looked just like this. Now you think of it, was also called Tetley. Could this be the same?
She's gonna like kneel down and sort of like gesture towards Tetley. You know, the come here, boy.
And he looks at you, tilts his head with almost a look of recognition, and comes happily padding over.
And then she's gonna like pet him a bit and fuss him a bit because he's a doggy and you gotta look. She fusses with his little ears, scratches his little butt, and then she's just gonna look at him like dead in the eye and say, "Shay," and see if he reacts.
He tilts his head up and kind of looks around you as if he's looking for someone, and tilts the head.
And she's gonna go, "Shay," again, just to make sure it wasn't a one-off.
And Talon, you've seen this before when Judge Grease was mentioning Judge Caro. The alertness of Tetley recognising a name. But yes, he does. As you say it again, Judy, he looks up at you expectantly. Looks round, but can't see what he's looking for.
Yeah, and she's gonna pet him again and say, "Congrats on the promotion, buddy." And then she'll look up and say, "I know this dog. Well, I know its owner."
When Talon was going through the computer looking at the judges from before, one of them was a woman. Was that Judge Shay?
It was. There was a Judge Caro and a Judge Shay.
Yep. That's what I thought. And Caro's the one that we think was taken prisoner. The two badges that were on the wall were Shay and Caro. Okay.
Yeah. Caro's the one that we think Reese just shot.
Okay.
Oh, Susie, you have no idea.
Yeah. Judge, and Talon's looking at Judy. Can you describe Shay and Caro? Do you know them? Would Judy have known them?
You knew Shay, and I'm happy for you to describe her however you wish. You did not know Caro. Because I don't think I've described Shay yet. So here you go, Susie.
Yeah, all right.
Describe my NPC.
Okay. This is Shay used to have a locker next to her. We used to bump into each other every morning. She's kind of average height, dark skin, not much in the way of hair. She kept it short. Killer cheekbones. She's kind of tough looking. She didn't look weedy or anything. She got an impressive figure. Dark hair, what little she had. Blue eyes. I think. It's been a while.
Her badge along with Caro's was on the wall. and Kara was alive, held prisoner. It is possible that Shay may also still be alive and held prisoner.
She may be if Tetley's still kicking around.
Reinhold remains missing.
I got nothing out of people in the arcade. They were all keeping quiet or didn't know anything.
I believe the dog was dumped along with the scrap. I think it's a message for us.
It is at this point, Judy, that you get a call come through on your radio headset.
Mm.
There has been a disturbance on your usual beat. You're being called away to deal with it, as there is no one else to take the call. And Waits and Talon are assigned to this block and this block only.
Alright. And she just goes, can Kane cover it for like 2 minutes?
They give you a couple
No.
of minutes, but they want you on scene.
Alright. Well, it's been a blast. Quite literally. That was really cool. I'm gonna come back and talk to you. And she's pointing at Talon about that business with the vials and the sling. Yes.
I like to
Wait.
cook. And she hands you a thermos of soup. This is this. You can drink this stuff.
Thank you. And Judy's like, oh, so touched. This has been a pretty good day. Hope things pick up for you.
You must have low standards.
You read the reports, right? Like, you... Waits.
And Waits
Okay,
like holds up a hand.
And she shakes it. And then she kind of like pulls her in a little bit and she says, no, for real though. Once you're done here, give me a call. I'll get a dinner with you and Kane and you can nerd out about the law together and I'll just... Yeah.
We are the law.
Some of us more than others. And she'll pat her really hard in the arm.
It's been an honor. And she'll step
Been
back and under her breath, apples. And it's like, it's that one of those things where you get that smell up your nose and you're like trying to like itch it out.
And with a very dramatic hair
Apple
flip,
good,
she
Tetley
leaves.
comes up, gives you a little paw on the side as you scritch him and leave. And you take up the call of whatever's going on in your area, leaving Waits and Talon with some very good soup, Judge Tetley and a mysterious scrap of fabric. However, I think you have made an impression this week. So go ahead and give yourselves 2 points on the law meter for for like showing up at the arcade and being like, this place is ours now, bitches.
And while I am doing that, I'm about to open a poll for Judge of the Day. Your options will be 0 for Judy, 1 for Talon, 2 for Waits, and 3 for Tetley, the goodest of all judges.
I'm gonna have to think up something special then if it's either Judy or Tetley. So
I know, but I felt bad just putting Waits or Talon, so, you know, gotta credit the whole team today. Let's go around while that poll is up and I'm updating things and say hello and goodbye to our wonderful cast tonight. And I would like to begin with Judge Talon herself, Cleric of Cord.
Hi. This was a blast. Thank you, Susanna, thanks for coming in. Meeting Judge Judy. I'm in her fangirling. Talon's too unaware. She's been locked in a lab for too long. But yes, thank you so much. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this.
And where can we find you on the internet, friend?
You can find me. I'm at Cleric of Court. That's where you can find me. Mostly on the Twitters, hanging out in the Discord. I will be in chat Sunday for the Meat Grinder, cheering everybody on. Yes, jousting to the lists. I have a pinned tweet. And we'll see you next Friday.
We will indeed see you next Friday for more Judge Dredd. This is Worlds of 2000 AD from N-World Morris. Susie, welcome back. Thanks for jumping in.
It's absolutely fine. I got the message from Charlie saying, "Hey, do you want to jump in as Judy?" And I was like, "Yes, 100%." I've missed Judy so much, and it was so fun to just play her one last time, or maybe not last time. Who knows? One more time. I am so very sorry that I did hop in and then immediately start a big fight, and maybe have kicked off things quite badly for you guys.
I am
But it's
in
Judy.
epic support of everything Judy did today. It's about time we started killing people and not just adopting them.
I am so glad that you jumped in, Susie, because it's thanks to you. You helped bump up the law meter by 2. I can't not. You went in there and was just like, "I'm here, and we own this place now."
Right?
Which they haven't really done yet. They've done all the sneaky, underhandy stuff.
Here's
I
the
was
thing,
trying
right?
that, and everyone else was like, "No, we gotta open a soup kitchen."
Everybody always says, "Oh, Judge Judy, she's the worst," but turned out being the most, one of the least corrupt the first time around, and I just bumped up the law meter, so I think you'll find I'm a pretty damn good judge. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's compared to the worst of the worst judges. The bar here is not very high.
Very true.
Yeah. Worst, right?
Best of the worst of the worst. And yeah, she is so ever so famous, hippie. But yeah, so thank you so much again for having me. I'm Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace. I'm a variety streamer who does video games, art streams, and tabletop RPGs. You can find, I have a pinned tweet with my schedule on it, but you'll next find me right here on Sunday, participating in the joust where I'm playing Lady Sana Mormont, the Fang of Bear Island. And I'm gonna smooch some ladies, well, one lady. Unhorse some people, win a tawny, and hopefully raise some money for a good charity. So tune in for that.
Thank you very much, and thank you, of course, to our Games Master tonight, Tabletop Horde, Virginia. How you doing?
I'm doing good. That was so much fun. I love having you play, Susie, because you're just amazing. Please stop making characters that I just want to be really gay for. Just every time. My heart can't take this anymore, okay? But yeah, that was a lot of fun. There is one thing though. We did get our poll option, and if I'm correct, Judge Tetley won.
He did, with 6 votes. He is the goodest boy.
He is the goodest boy. People that are watching that don't know this yet, Tetley is a bit of a kind of inside thing with some of us. Susie had a dog called Tetley on our Actum Cthulhu stream that was also on Encounter Roleplay, and we've kind of resurrected him a little bit, but also because chat voted for a dog, so it had to be Tetley. So Susie, I want you to choose, since Tetley won and you are Tetley's true owner, I will either allow you to choose to bump the law meter up, have Tetley give them a clue in the next session, like a major clue, or you can pick a skill increase for Talon and weights. The choice is totally up to you.
That's
a tricky one. That's a
While
big
you
decision.
do that, I want to go ahead and just reiterate that this weekend we do have that monthly meat grinder. We are raising money for Macmillan Cancer Support. It's an amazing charity that does a lot of great work with people of all ranges dealing with cancer in their life. We'll have a list of donations similar to the one that you see tonight, so that you can assist your favorite champion in the joust. We begin the joust with 4 pairs, and we will go down to just 1 champion in the Dragon's Tourney, which is being DM'd by RPG Webby, aka Sam. Major thank you to everyone for being here tonight, for supporting us through donations, your ship presents, and if you are over on YouTube, please consider giving us a like, leave us a comment, let us know who you think Judge of the Week is, and thank you so much for being here and supporting us. That is 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. If we're in the UK, the clocks are changing, so it'll be an hour earlier than normal. Where it would normally be 8 o'clock UK, it is now 7 o'clock UK. Just for 1 week, just to make things a tiny bit confusing for everyone. But yes, 3 Eastern until 7. It's going to be a really fun event. I hope you'll come and hang out with us on Sunday. Anything you'd like to plug, Virginia, while Susie makes that?
Yeah, please follow me over on Twitter at Tabletop Horde, as you see it on the screen below me right now. I am soon hopefully going to be starting my own Twitch channel, which you can go and follow if you want to, which is also Tabletop Horde over on Twitch, where I'm going to be starting a series of playing a bunch of one-shots for games on this wonderful bookcase behind me that I bought and haven't had a chance to play yet. And hopefully we'll see all of the wonderful people that you normally see me on stream with on some of those games that I am preparing for. Excitingly, over the last couple of days, I've written a one-page game called Space Hike. And it's a short, kind of silly one-page RPG or one-sheet RPG that I'm going to be putting up some more information on how you can get that onto Twitter once I've laid it out and done some various other bits and bobs. So if you're interested in seeing what kind of craziness my brain comes up with involving space ladders and hiking, definitely follow me on Twitter for that. Otherwise, you can find me here on Fridays running this. Most Thursdays, you can find me over on RPG Webby doing After the Fire with these two lovely people, my fantasy mum and my fantasy sister, who I love very much. Fantasy baby sister, but let's face it, you're doing better than I am right now. But yeah, also I help make things. We just did the Strange New World stream, so definitely go and watch that on YouTube when it's up if you want to see Charlie being Captain Grimon and Cleric being an awesome medic, and Susie with the best cat makeup just being incredible, a force of nature.
All right, Susie, what is your decision? Because I think it's about time to wrap up this stream.
All right. Being the proud mother of a very good boy, he is going to bestow upon you a good clue. A big juicy clue about where Reinhold is.
Right.
Tetley is going to be a good boy a very good boy next week.
Okay, and we will see you on Sunday for that meat grinder, and then it is back to business as normal on Monday with Ravnica. We will see you very soon. Please take care. I'm going to see if we can find someone to raid. Keep an eye out for that in chat. Have a good weekend.